In the book entitled Lehigh University by Ross W. Yates, the building's style is described as stylistic Gothic, with details ranging from tall, stately windows to unexpected, grotesque mullioned windows. The central portion of the hall, which occupies the base of the tower, rises to a height of 3 stories, and above the entrance is a great mullioned window, which at some future time will glow with colored glass. Welcome to the Alumni Memorial Building, a structure built solely to commemorate the students and alumni who had served in the First World War during Charles Russ Richards' presidency. The Alumni Association broke ground to create this architecturally unique memorial on Founders Day, October 1919, and it was finally occupied in September of 1924. Besides the admissions department, the building also holds the offices of the President, Provost, Registrar, Bursar, and Alumni Association. Matt Herr, who is the Senior Assistant Director of Admissions and has been working in the Alumni Building for 2 years, talks about the beauty, the history, and the importance of the Alumni Building.
One of the more beautiful buildings on campus, Gothic architecture, so it's a really pretty architecture, vine-covered building. The building was originally built to commemorate those who fought in World War I. If you go into the admissions theater, you can see a large wall with those names of those who fought in World War I. We also have plaques in that room covering all the other wars that were fought.
During World War I, a total of 1,921 Lehigh men had been in uniform, of whom 46 lost their lives. Shortly after the armistice was signed, the Alumni Association became dedicated to the idea of a large building to honor these servicemen.
We like to call it the wow factor. They come in from the west side, and immediately they look out over the front of the campus through the glass doors. So they get that wow factor of, look at how beautiful the campus is. And then they go into the atrium and they can see the beautiful stained glass that's there. Throughout the building you'll see different faces as well in the architecture, so that's kind of a neat add-on. So it's a really neat view that students get when they first walk in.
The flags that hang in the atrium are the official class flags for each current class. There are 50 different designs that are rotated through the decades. Before classes start, the class that began 50 years before hands off their flag to the incoming class at the freshman rally. Eileen Gozelic, who is the executive secretary to the Provost and has been working in the building for 22 years, discusses these changes and the impact they made on the beauty of the building.
The space down in admissions was open at one time, and they brought people in to make it more theater-like and the acoustics better and so forth. When Dr. Greg Barrington came in, they started some improvements to the area and so forth, and the circle as well. But they started with the garage, and the observatory had to be moved. So they brought in an Amish crew, and they literally rolled it from that space all the way over to this area.
Karen Krajczar, Secretary of Admissions, discusses her time of nearly 40 years at the Alumni Memorial Building and why it's a great place to work.
Just the office itself, the admissions office, I've seen grown. Even just the building itself, just this area, the improvements in our reception area, the amount of visitors coming in has increased. Just the beauty of the building itself, our visitors are so impressed with. Almost number one question I usually get is, was this ever a church or cathedral before it was I always tell them no, and the chapel was built actually before this was. So, but they are very impressed with the building. You know, I always say that if I have to spend 7.5 hours a day, it's such a pretty place to spend it. A great place to work.
But it's a really neat building to work in.
I love it here, and I drive down the hill and I can see the top of the building. And it's just gorgeous, and I think to myself, I work there, and I feel so incredibly lucky to do that.